Good job, Gatineau municipal government. You wanted to, I guess, in some way put some amount of funding into a underdeveloped community, and what you ended up doing was putting in new, absolutely, definitely needed trash cans and recycling bins. Great. So I'm sitting here, just drinking some apricot nectar. That's good. And eating some pita chips with pine nut hummus. Outside of a small business ice cream parlor. And yeah, that's it. I just wanted to state that. No clue why. I just did right now. So, this morning, I had a lovely little run-in with the GPD when I was packing up my things after having spent the night sleeping in that small park. Two officers approached me, and they started speaking in Quebecois French, but I obviously told them je ne parle pas français, anglais, and they were like, yep, we speak English. And they asked what was I doing here. I just said, oh, I'm just packing up my things. They asked, did I sleep there? And I said, yep. And they also asked, how was I doing? And I answered, oh, could be better. But, so they explained that, excuse me, they explained they came there, they came by because, they got a call, someone reported me to them, they got a call that someone was sleeping in the nearby park of this area in the Lac-Béchamp district. So, yeah. And they just informed me that, according to the bylaws of, well, the municipal government of Gatineau, camping is completely banned anywhere in public in the entire city. That's interesting to know. So I hadn't known that prior. Not like I care, but hadn't known that prior. And they said, we're not going to give you a ticket. We'll just tell you about some shelters. They said there's the one in Hull, which I'm thinking is the same one that those intake workers for the makeshift one that was originally a motel in the Promendaz district. I'm thinking it's that one. It's the same building. And they also told me about another one, but I didn't know where it was. I forget which district they said it was in. But they just said you can't be sleeping outside. And long story short, they took my ID just to check it, and my phone number. And I just asked, is it all right if I pack up? Well, your partner, one of them was standing behind me. If your partner is, while they're running the information through your system, they were like, oh, sure, yep. And then I started packing up. They said that I had a lot of equipment, and I was like, yes, quite a lot. For the rural areas, hopefully. So they gave me my ID back, and then, well, they were on their merry way. And so was I. They were okay, so just off my psychoanalysis of them, they were both, especially the one that was talking to me, they were genuinely nice officers. They seemed to be of an indoctrinated belief into thinking that working for the law enforcement agencies actually helps protect people. It doesn't seem like they had any malicious intent towards me. They weren't displaying any blatant classism. Subtle, yes, because of, well, the shitty municipal law. Then again, they could have been posturing or deceiving me. They could have been putting on false personas, but well, obviously wasn't around them long enough to get an understanding of that. But the most new information that I now have is that I legally can't sleep in any public areas. So naturally, I'm gonna disobey that law like a million times over, of course. Now, in a bit more of a serious sense, tonight, as the bulk of this episode is most likely going to be filmed at night, because it's now 5:25 p.m. and I still need to upload the video that I made yesterday, which broke another record. Well, I'll just say the first two, part 1 and part 2 of Exploring Gatineau, have been the longest videos on my channel so far. But, yeah, there's a place around here that has Wi-Fi that I'm going to go in, charge my things up, and then upload that video. And so, though, what I'm going to do today is, if you recall in the last video, I was going around the downtown area, and I was astonished by the amount of gentrification and expansionism of mass corporations there was. That it was just awful. And then I took notice of a long row, an entire neighborhood, I want to call it, an entire neighborhood just comprised of very high-end, absolutely expensive condo and apartment buildings. So, I'm going to go explore that neighborhood today. I have to look again on the map, but I believe it's called the Oiseau Bleu neighborhood, named after the park. That's, well, I guess, the center community play area for it. But, yeah, I'm going to go check that out. Oh, yes, and I'll address the thing that I was going to address at the end of the last video, but didn't. In terms of how I'm actually going to be leaving the city of Gatineau. Well, by this point, in terms of my moral issues with what I call burdening people, more than maybe I would be right of me to do, considering my existential crisis and morality crisis, of, well, using them for my benefit, as everyone else uses everyone else for their benefit, in a pro-social manner. But, well, anyway, whether or not it's beneficial, I've kicked that. I've kicked that idea of not wanting to burden people, because I'm going to burden people no matter what. That's just a given by this point, in literally the ontological essence of receiving help from others, if you want to call it burdening, and in terms of our natural pro-socialization, it's not burdening as far as I'm concerned. If someone feels that it is, well, that's their own psychological trauma that they need to sort out. So, how I'll be getting out of the city, if I can, the first option I'm going to try is actually getting a bus ticket, a relatively cheap one, that a domestic provincial traveling bus which they run through the center of Gatineau. They do, going through southern Quebec all the way to Montreal. I'm going to try and get on one to the town of Thurso, Quebec, which is, well, by bus, it's about maybe an hour and 50 minutes away from Gatineau to maybe 2 hours. So an hour and 50 to 2 hours away. Why Thurso instead of just all the way to Laval? Well, because I want to explore these areas of the country that I'm going to all throughout Canada as I head up through Quebec to Labrador and then to Nunavut. But also because that's the only one I can actually technically get whilst staying in Quebec, because I looked to see if there was a bus going from Gatineau that actually went to and stopped in the village of Montebello, which is another hour or so away from Thurso, but there isn't. I believe there's some buses that pass through it, but they don't stop in the village. They just go straight through. And they go right on to Laval or Montreal, or some may even go as far as Longueuil. But, so, that's not happening. And if I was to just get one to Laval, well, apparently the only one that I could find that was offering services right now to get there starts here in Gatineau, and then goes through Ottawa, down across northeastern Ontario, and then into Montreal, and then Laval, and then back around. So no, I'm not doing that either. So I'll try that first. Then if I can't get a relatively cheap bus ticket to the town of Thurso, I will try and see about getting a train. There's a train system that's not the one that runs through the downtown, but I think there's another one that runs in maybe more towards northern Gatineau, where I was yesterday, that runs through close and stops close by at a station, possibly by the town of Thurso, or maybe even Montebello. I'll have to see, and if not that, well, then I'm hitchhiking out of Gatineau. I'm just doing what I was initially going to do, and gather my things and walk out and hitchhike. So, that's what I'm doing. Yeah, okay. Again, if tonight, in terms of sleeping, I may go to that makeshift homeless shelter that's in Promendaz, or right at the border of Promendaz in the downtown area. Or I could literally just no sleeping on public property. Well, then maybe if they don't have any rooms, I will just sleep behind the damn shelter on their property. And if they have a problem with me doing that, then they're a sham of a homeless shelter, as far as I'm concerned. If they're actually there to help the impoverished and those without housing, well, let them sleep on your fucking property then, even if you don't have housing. So, if they were to call the police on me for that, that'd be the most idiotic thing imaginable. And if not that, maybe I'll sleep in the wooded area that's close by to this bougie neighborhood that I'll be going to. There's a nice woodland patch that would be very secluded. So, well, we'll see. Right now I'm going to actually upload that other video and then get some charge in my phone. Okay, so I'll do that, and then I will get back to you once I'm more towards the downtown area. I can literally smell the mulch, sawdust odor, and whatever other things they're using in there, because the fumes are burning my throat. So that's nice. Fantastic. Back to mega corporate conglomeration. Oh, goody goody. Fucking McDonald's. How many signs do you actually need? I swear to fucking Christ. Okay, actually, no. You know what? I'm not gonna end that little clip there. I was gonna... Shut up, semi-truck! I was gonna end that clip there, but no, I actually want to quickly rant about this. Why the fuck are there 3 McDonald's signs? Okay, fine, you can make an excuse for the small logo one on the actual body of the restaurant. What? Okay, this one though is here. It's right in front of the fucking branch. It's facing the main stretch of road that runs straight through downtown Gatineau. Fine. Whoopity-doo-dah. Why the fuck is this one right next to it? On the literally, not even, okay, I'm gonna literally zoom out a bit. Literally, I can get it within the same shot. Get it within the same shot of distance, how far apart they are from each other. It's barely on the adjacent road. Why? And it's not even facing, what the fuck? It's not even facing the direction of the fucking road it's on. It's facing the direction of the main stretch of road, just like the one right in front of the restaurant is. Fucking stupid beyond all hell. Alright, I was slightly wrong, about the actual angling of that one sign over there, but regardless, it's not even facing the correct position for the road that this intersection actually bends into. Because over there by the, oh, well, what do you know? Fucking U-Haul storage facility, because, of course, it's not even facing completely directly on the road that it goes down, or that it's not facing the direction that drivers on that road would be facing coming this way. If you wanted to put another one of these giant luminescent signs just in close proximity to your restaurant branch, why wouldn't you just put it, to advertise it, why wouldn't you put it down there a ways? Come on, McDonald's, I'm sure you have more than enough wealth to buy up a plot of fucking land over there to slam one of your fucking irritatingly bright luminescent signs down onto. Oh, and let's not forget the drive-through sign, because the drive-through sign is absolutely necessary. It's right below the friggin' giant-ass other sign that indicates where McDonald's is. And you absolutely need that to indicate that it's over there. That's completely necessary. Golden arches, suck my gold liquid producing rod. Shell, Walmart, Canadian Tire, Bleu and Gross, I believe that's how you pronounce that one. I have seen advertisements for you. You seem to be a provincial-wide megacorp for Quebec. Oh, and what do you know? We're back here at Home Depot, and there's that governmental building, which apparently has affiliations to, I looked up after I went to it, the Canadian Archival Library, just the same as that building over there. That's government owned in Ottawa, Ontario. And I have no clue what fucking company you are. Oh, and yes, of course, Slush Puppy headquarters. Screw absolutely every single one of you except for you right now, because I have no clue who you are, even though you contribute, sadly, to continuing this system. But you're off the hook for now. But all of you fuckers, I have great disdain for all of you. I have empathy and sympathy for all of you, but I still fucking hate you. What the fuck? Okay. Corporate cannibalism. Okay, so down there is a McDonald's branch. And if you remember from the last part of exploring Gatineau, in part 2, behind, well, the Home Depot and that Provision Archival Library government building, down there a ways, in the neighborhood back there, there's a Tim Hortons branch. But you also have 2 of them literally just a few blocks away in the Walmart. Okay, obviously I hate it for, because of fascism, but just even if I was a fucking ultra capitalist, that's just horrendous. That's just a horrendous business decision if you actually are trying to amalgamate mass profit in commercialism. That's literally one of the... Okay, you have the branches here, and you have the branches for McDonald's there, and Tim Hortons over there. Well, one of them for each separate company is going to beat out the other in terms of profit margin, and also is going to... Yeah, one of them is going to do better than the other and be more popular. One's going to be more convenient to go to, and considering these 2 are in a actual mega retail branch where people have to stop and pull over to, whereas the other ones are actually beside roadways where people are, well, seeing as I consider, from everything I know, Gatineau to be basically a pass-through city going to Ottawa. Most people are on long, tiring road trips, and they probably, well, because of indoctrination to beliefs and other psychological disorders, yada, 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 and also because of just mass stress from driving, anxiety, whatever else, they pull over and they like these cheap-ass, heavily manufactured and processed, well, fast food, garbage meals. So I'm willing to bet that these 2 branches are going to do far better than these 2 branches. So you're going to kill you're going to kill the business of one of your fucking branches. That's so stupid. That's what's referred to in, well, business marketing as corporate cannibalism. The mega American restaurant fast food chain Subway, you all know them, is guilty of doing that across the board, especially in the United States. Wow. That infuriates me for 2 reasons. That's nice. Now I'm double angry. Speak of the devil. I didn't even notice it was there earlier. I noticed the sign for it, but I did not know it was actually within the confines of that cinema's building. I'm at a loss for words. The nighttime, with all the luminescent signs, the nightly hour really does. It highlights even better. It really brings out the vast, extensive economic disparity. It really does. Just all along here. god, this is fucking awful. Well, I have no clue what's going on at the Costco. Maybe someone was really desperate to get some cashews tonight. Well, it seems that all available units are converging at the Costco. Okay. The only reason I'm not going to see what's happening is because, well, morally, I don't know what to do at this. Okay, that also sounded like a distress alarm from over in that direction. Anyway, I don't know what to do in this situation right now, honestly. I don't know the scenario from what I saw. I don't know what could be happening. Obviously, I'm not for police being involved, as I don't agree with policing in the slightest. But, well, I don't know. I don't know the situation. But I am right by the area that I want to take a walk through. Let's see. But before I do that, I'm just quickly going to point out something that I've noticed so far from me from the now 3 days having been here in the city of Gatineau, Quebec. In terms of Quebecois French, at the very least specific to Gatineau, I've noticed what seems to be a bit of a creolization in terms of, well, dialect. Because distinctly, and I've heard it from more than one person, from multiple people, just in conversations that I've overheard, is that when it comes, it seems that in the language, there's a carryover of the English words for, well, fuck, the swear word, right, and okay. Seriously, like, I will hear in conversation, and this is going to be fake French, obviously, I don't know how to speak French in the slightest, but I'll hear somebody go, je ne connais pas fuck, je ne fuck something along those lines, or je ne sais pas, right, okay. Like, I'm hearing those three, well, the English versions of the meanings for those words, fuck, right, okay, being said, well, with a Quebec accent in accompaniment with the language. So it seems to be some form of Creole or creolization. Because I actually bothered when I was in Wi-Fi today to look up the European Parisian French words for fuck, right, and okay. And apparently in European French, fuck is morde, or murder, or murde, something along those lines. D'accord is okay, I believe. And right, actually, I don't recall what right was. And fucking is also the same. It seems to be creolized to some extent in Quebecois French, because they'll say fucking. And in, well, European French, fucking is poutine, I believe, or poutine, something along those lines. So, that's just an interesting thing I've been picking up on. Just thought I'd point that out. Okay, on to exploring what appears to be very much ultra-rich, wealthy condo galore subdivision. Alright, actually, as I'm... guess after the police left, another robbery is taking place. That's interesting timing. About that creolizing process, just one more thing I want to mention, or another thing that it could be in terms of linguistics, that could also be, I don't know if that's, maybe that is a part of, well, just standard Quebecois French, or maybe that's distinct to a Gatineau slang, given its, well, culturally and just geographically, its close proximity to Ottawa. Maybe. I don't know. So, yeah, I just thought I'd point that out. I won't know that unless I actually research it further online, or until I actually get moving further out and upward into the rest of Quebec. But, so, I'm not sure. So either it's distinct to Gatineau, or that is just a creolization within Quebecois French. Alright, this is it. Rue d'Orleans, this road, along what I believe is called Gibber Boulevard. Well, this is the entrance to Bleu neighborhood, or the area that generally be referred to as Bleu. I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly. So, I'm going to get walking down here and see what I find. If there are heavy police patrols around here, let's hope they've all been distracted by who's ever thieving the Costco. Alright, let me just get down a ways there, and I will continue to film. Alright, having walked just a ways down the road, taking in the infrastructural environment, I am already noticing an immediate difference compared to that of the Promenades district on the opposite side of Le Promenades shopping center. However, this is definitely, at the very least, this portion here seems to be more upper middle class. Those apartment complexes, though, seem to be very much of more ultra-rich status. And I'm noticing a fence, or I was over there, a fence and a hedge that's down there, and maybe I'll walk back a ways just to show it, dividing even this roadway from the courtyard. Yep, there it is. The courtyard of that building. And those ones. But I'm going to try and find a way to actually get into the courtyard, walk around briefly, just to get some footage. So, anyway. Yep, again, just everything looks a lot more externally, and from what I can see in through some of the windows, internally, very well maintained. Same with the lawns, the roads, and the sidewalks, absolutely. Far more well maintained than down in Promenades or in Lac Béchamp. Yep, so you can see the fence and the hedge. Or is that a hedge, or is it just a row of trees? No, that can count as a hedge. Yeah, I guess that counts as a hedge. But, well, yeah, I don't know what else to say. This is just, well, already off the bat, this is very obvious pseudo-segregation. What I've talked about before, to some degree. So, yeah, look at this. There's barely, already from just here, barely a scratch on the exterior of any of these apartment buildings. This little, what I guess is supposed to be a playground, it's gated. I think it's for, well, all these buildings. Well, just this little section of the community. Well, it's very well maintained. Very well maintained. Okay, but, alright. Let me see if I can actually find a way over there, and then get back to you. So, there's a cul-de-sac here at the end of that road I was just on. It's right behind, well, it's a ways away, but tucked behind the main road. And as for these high-end complexes, yeah, it's gated from all ends, it seems. Literally, wall and fence and a hedge running all along here. So I can't get to it from, or into the actual courtyard from this vantage point. But if I'm recalling from the map correctly, at the actual front of it, on, well, maybe from one of these parking lots, I might be able to actually access it, but I'm actually going to do that later in the night. I'll do it as well, my last stop when coming out of this area. Because, well, there's far more down that way that I want to explore, and I don't want to exhaust myself entirely on this set of buildings. Because, if you recall from the last video, looking at it from a distance over by, well, where Slush Puppy's HQ building is, and where that cultural center was, across from that open vacant field, I saw what looked to be just an entire subdivision made up of very, very, very elitist designed, well, condo buildings. So I want to go check that out, and if I'm not mistaken, it should be in that general direction, heading northeast of this neighborhood. So I'm going to attempt to just walk further down this road, going that way, and see where I end up. But I'm also first going to check the map, just to be somewhat sure. So, going through, well, where I've been so far in this neighborhood, I'm picking up on two noticeable things right now. One, the extensive amount of very well kept greenery in the plant life on most people's properties, which I'm sure you're noticing somewhat as well. The very lush pine or spruce trees, I'm not entirely sure. These hedges that are all around, completely just lining the roads. But also, I'm smelling the general air of, well, the community. Just getting the whiff of, well, the wind. And I can't help but say it smells a lot crisper already in this entire area. The air smells a lot cleaner. And I can probably attribute that to the amount of plant life there is. That's well maintained. That doesn't seem to be very, well, tampered with in any sort of majorly, well, destructive way, at least as far as I can tell. But, yeah, it generally, actually, just in this little pocket here, this little area, smells a lot better. And my passageways, in terms of my lungs, actually feel a lot more open. Maybe that's a, well, maybe that's some sort of psychological placebo effect. I'm not sure. At the moment, it could be, very well, given the, well, shrub life of the surrounding environment. But, it's just two things that I've picked up on. So down there, as you saw in the clip before, that appears to be the cluster of condos. So, there's a park that's attached to what appears to be a high school, just around the bend somewhere. I think, to maybe not draw as much attention to myself in that area, I'm gonna lock up my cart just in that park somewhere with the boot locks, the boot tire locks that I have, and then continue on foot without dragging this beast of a friggin' wagon with me, just all the way through it. Okay, let's go. Okay, here's the park. It's very wide, very open. It's actually, I think, the widest park I've seen in the city so far. And complete with, as you can see, there's the high school and the football field. And I don't know why that light is flicking on and off. Maybe it's just a security protocol. And, of course, it's surrounded by very well-off houses galore. And wouldn't you know, right over there's the condos. Now, I'm looking on the map. There was a way to actually get into the area, But right here, I'm not seeing a direct route. It might be that road over there. But let's hope, in terms of the actual courtyards, or, well, just the actual entire walkway area of the, well, pretty well conjoined condo buildings that are neighboring each other. Let's hope I can actually get into them and there's not any sort of fence that blocks it in. But before I do that, I'm just going to lock up my cart somewhere in here and then go take a piss in the park somewhere. Not out of spite, no, because I need to urinate. So, yeah, let me do that. Alright, cart can't talk. Cart successfully locked, and now I'm continuing down the road I was walking along to get to another road right here. Appears to be that should go directly to the bloody condos, because I found out rather quickly that these two streets down here are cul-de-sacs as well as that one I got footage of down there. Is this a cul-de-sac too? Are you shitting me? No, it's not. Okay, never mind. I was wrong. Okay, so there are two things that I feel I should mention right now. One of them rather important. The other one just, well, to explain some semantics. So, the reason I'm probably, if I decide to, titling this video something about exploring a bougie neighborhood, for any of you who don't speak, well, you don't speak leftist, bougie is urban slang term that originates from Black American vernacular English slang, well, usage, that means high-end wealth, upper class, very prestigious, or very purebred, I guess you could say in another form. Just very expensive, very well off. It could be in relation to anything: a person, an object, a neighborhood, a trend, a whole bunch of things. So, and the term itself further originates from the German term bourgeoisie, which was coined by Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels when discussing about the upper class elites within, well, for Karl Marx's writings of Das Kapital mainly, as well as Engels and Marx's combined writing for the Communist Manifesto. And the other thing that I feel I should mention is that when researching this neighborhood, the Oiseau Bleu neighborhood, again, I think I'm still pronouncing that right, not entirely sure. I was, well, just checking on different forums and also things that have been said about this entire area and the downtown area of Gatineau as a whole. And I came to find out that, well, who I'm referring to as the Ottawa oligarchs, that a fair number of them either do live in this area or live close by to it within Gatineau, maybe more towards the northern end of the city, but still close by it. There's speculation that many may live close to here. Or there is considerable evidence that some of them have ties to purchasing property or have themselves purchased property within this area of Gatineau, whether it be a house or an apartment room or house itself, just privatized property, or potentially have affiliations to contracting companies that have designed the actual, well, building structures. And that's very, very, very suspicious as far as I'm concerned. Mainly because of the fact, well, you know my thoughts about, and it's in referring, this is talking about the municipal government of Ottawa, but also in some regard, I also forgot to mention actual federal politicians of, well, the Canadian Parliament having housing in this area of Gatineau, as well as, I should also mention, Gatineau politicians, municipal government officials having housing close to here or in a district that is right by this portion of the downtown called Barron, I believe, the Barron district. That's up a ways. Just, it borders this neighborhood. And that's incredibly suspicious for me because, well, as far as I'm concerned, you know my thoughts on how the political systems protect the elitist corporations, and many of the politicians are elites themselves that actively only get into politics, as far as I'm concerned, to put in place policies and laws that actually benefit their families' company ties, or are completely affiliated with corporations that, well, make mass stock profit for them, or they're indoctrinated. They're indoctrinated into believing that what they're doing with their position in office is actually beneficial for their communities, and they're manipulated very heavily by other political entities and corporate entities. It's interesting, though, to note that with how in a variety of the districts, especially in the ghetto areas of said districts that I visited, how very obvious the crumbling communal settings were, and how lack of funding was, well, very apparent, and lack of financial resources for the common people, and lack of, there was a surplus, far more small businesses than in downtown Gatineau, far more in downtown Ottawa than here. But, lack of affordable maintenance by said store owners, for being able to operate their businesses well enough and pay their workers fairly. I think you get the picture I'm trying to paint. And yet, and the same thing can be said for the Promenades district of Gatineau, right on the other side of the shopping plaza, and just going down the main stretch of road that either turns into another, that's connected to, or it is still Gibber Boulevard, if that's the name of it, unless if it, after that intersection, maybe it turns into a different name, I'm not sure, for the road. Interesting to see the infrastructure over there compared to here, where most of these Ottawa federal and municipal politicians, or these certain ones, live or have ties to, as well as Gatineau public officials. And I'm going to, and it's actually interesting that I bring it up right now, because let me flip the camera. Take a look at this. You'll notice that as I seem to be progressing further and further deeper into this neighborhood, the nicer and nicer the housing structures are getting, as well as the cars, as far as I'm concerned. It's rather quiet out right now, so I'm trying to keep my voice low to an extent, because actually, believe me, I am a bit more weary of being in an area like this, given my current financial situation and housing situation, than I was in the ghettos that I've visited. Mainly because, well, in the ghettos, culturally, because of years of, well, depending on the ethnic groups who have been targeted, cultural degradation from police forces and class alienation. I know that typically most people are not willing to phone law enforcement. Here, though, or in a neighborhood as well off as this, well, I don't think I can say the same, especially given when I was even down on the opposite end of the city in the easternmost half, or closer to the easternmost half, in Akpachamp, even in that lower income community in the park. Even then, someone reported me to the Gatineau City Police, and they showed up and told me that there is no legal camping within the city, which is a direct attack on the homeless population as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, you'll notice it. And again, very convenient that this area happens to be very, well, very much popular with members of municipal and federal parliament. Oh, and would you look at that? We're just about there. Okay. Well, this is interesting. Oh. Okay. That might actually... Okay, maybe there was actually a way to get over to this section of the neighborhood from the main road that runs through downtown. But again, it is tucked off far a ways from it. But I'm here now. So, let's see if I can get my bearings and actually head in to the courtyard area of this cluster of apartments. Holy shit. Yeah, this is different. Hell of a lot nicer of a layout than pretty well all of the city I have seen so far. Huh. Okay, you people. Chartwell. Cité Jardin. Résidence pour Retreats. I don't think I pronounced that right in the slightest. Well, you're behind this mass privatization. So, I blame you, obviously. far better lighting system than a lot of places in the city as well. Far better. Far, far, far better and further well-maintained hydro system, it seems. Yeah, all along here. Lighting for all these houses. Like, along their actual sides. Not even just street lights. Oh, well, here's a parking garage. Far better paving job on the streets. What fucking siren was that? I've never heard any emergency vehicle make that sort of noise before. Oh, you're not. Okay. You're not a cop, hopefully. Let's hope. No, you're not. You're a taxi. Okay. Okay. Oh, the street's also called Cité-Jardin. Wait a minute. They actually buy up. Did they do one of those things where the company actually bought up the friggin' road? They might very well have. One of my friends who lives in Peterborough, I met them whilst working a restaurant job in McCracken's Landing during the summer of 2022. They told me about how there was a mass gentrifying factory. I forget which company it was for. That was within Peterborough. It might have actually been their headquarters, the office, the building itself. And the company actually bought up the main stretch of road that the building was actually situated on, so that they could, have complete control over, the operations of who enters the road and, I guess, advertisements or any other structuring put along the road for their own corporate purposes. So, maybe that's something that happened here. And this one that I'm standing on right now is Fauteuil. I don't think I said that right in the slightest. Okay. Well. Yeah. What the hell? This is an entire neighborhood of fucking mini condos and apartment complexes. Oh, and would you look at that? Another one is bound to be going up at some point soon. I guess in 2023. This year. Or they're going to start production on it. Because of course they are. Yeah, rooftop terraces. Well, goddamn. Guess I'll just walk down this way. High-end cars. And also noticing a lot of electric vehicles. Because that is absolutely a trend amongst the ultra-rich. Yep, there's where I was in the last video. There's that governmental building. And that other friggin' condo that's going to be going up. That is already going up. BBL. I don't know if you can really see it too well in the video. The logo that's illuminated on that construction crane. No clue what that stands for. Maybe that's the company that's actually producing it. Jesus Christ. This place is very eerie. Very eerie to me. Like, I'm generally far more spooked here than I was in Northern Vanier or Huron Gate. Far more. Because, wow. Okay. Yeah. The pseudo-segregation of, well, the societal structuring and communal layouts of, well, not just Gatineau, but as far as I'm concerned, the majority of cities of the world. Well, this is a prime example of it. Like, seriously, this is tucked away. Literally I would have, what the fuck? This is, I will admit, on some level, it is very beautiful. Incredible architectural design. Very, I guess, metropolitan Canadian-esque design with some amount of American influence and things of the sort, and also, well, British, European influence. But, my God, this... Anyone out there watching, raise your hand, any of you, would, if you would have thought that this entire layout, this neighborhood, looked like this from where I was all the way over there, because on the other side of those buildings, Slush Puppy HQ and the Cultural Center and that recreational center, which is where the main road of the downtown area is. Any of you, how many of you would have guessed that this was tucked away in here? No, I mean, it's tucked away. And it's tucked away for a fucking reason. Segregation, or an attempt at segregation, that is basically half-baked. I guess in some regard you could maybe refer to it as well as subtle segregation, but I guess well, more so I guess it's just half measures at doing so to keep the general populace clueless. But good lord, yeah, they charter well. They own all these buildings. I don't know about these ones over here, but I'm sure they have para-deals with whatever company, if it is a different one, that built these. Very lovely park, well-maintained park. Oh, what a surprise! These fucking garbage bins again. Oh, all right. What in the hell? What the sweet? Really? You can't even see it, can you? Fucking. Group swings. Like one of those, I don't know what they're called, but these sort of antique garden swings that you'd find in, like, well, I guess you could call them maybe a Victorian style garden. A birdhouse. Don't know if, okay, I guess for letting the birds roam through. Okay, you got a canopy here. It's pretty traditional, seeing these in other parks. And then, well, you got this interestingly designed kids' play sand pit. That's an interestingly... Wow, that sand is soft. That's real soft sand. That's an interestingly designed swing. This is really soft sand. I'm actually gonna touch it. Wow, that actually feels like beach sand. That's fucking beach sand. You will not find sand like this in lower to standardized middle class neighborhoods in parks. No way. If they actually have sand instead of sharply cut mulch or just dirt. Yeah, this has been fucking imported from somewhere. Jesus Christ. Wow, it's very eerily quiet. I feel like I am in the back rooms right now. Yeah, it's... I don't have words. It's far quieter than the hustle and bustle of the downtown area right over there. But, my God, it extends all the way through here. Still more to explore. I genuinely, seriously, I would have never thought, even on the map, looking on the map from an aerial view, never would have thought it looked, well, like this. These tall, adorning apartment buildings with very, very classy external and, from what I can tell, internal designs. Very well lit streets. Very well maintained streets. High-end vehicles. All the fucking complete with canopies for the cars. If the corporations that built, well, the land development for these buildings, well, if they couldn't be bothered to put in, or maybe just didn't have the equipment to put in a friggin' car garage. I mean, there's a chair here. Either way, that's a nice looking chair. Is there anything even wrong with it? Or is just someone tired of having it? What the fuck is wrong with this chair? Oh. No, the back just slightly came off. What is wrong with this chair? Is anything wrong with this chair? It feels fine. Yeah, I guess someone was just tired of it and they wanted to get a new one. And they were like, what do we need to do with the old one? Oh, I don't know, just put it out on the curb. That's what the common peasants do, right? That's what most people do, right? Someone will just come along here and take it. Okay. Still have the other end to explore. So, what I was talking about before, if for the Ottawa politicians that have actual living spaces here, and there are also speculations of certain politicians who are more private about their living quarters from people, I guess, within the Ottawa-Gatineau region who are into researching these sorts of things in sociology. Well, there's speculations that they have some amount of property in this area of Gatineau. It's very interesting as well. Another reason I find it suspicious. Now, let me state, obviously, there are massively corrupt politicians who live within Ottawa and close to Parliament, mainly in New Edinburgh, close to the Rideau grounds. One of those corrupt buildings being the Rideau grounds, as far as I'm concerned. Holy, a whole row. These are different designs. Well, shit, fucking. An upper level for the vehicles and a lower one too. It's open and has, well, fencing. Because of course, is this actually fully gated? Can I even get in you? We'll find out soon enough. Okay, so don't get me wrong, there are corrupt politicians, many, who live in Ottawa, in their city that they are destroying. But I find it interesting that some of them, who very clearly are, affiliated with mass monopolies that destroy those of lower classes, and also are affiliated with mass racial prejudice, sexual prejudice, and gender discrimination, and policies that are put in place to perpetuate those ideals related to those prejudices, as well as in terms of the police force signing in laws that culturally diminish and, target specific groups. Well, I find it interesting that, especially in relation to the municipal officials, that they work within the city of Ottawa, putting in whatever policies, and then for those who do live over here, well, they just kind of seem to have hopped ship from the city that they're wrecking. Now, don't get me wrong. Yeah, that looks, there's the entrance for those cars. Just a ramp. Now, don't get me wrong, obviously their actions spread. I believe everything in, every regard of human life is connected with my belief of the ripple perspective to some degree or the next. And it spreads and spreads and spreads. But I'm just saying, in terms of their specific, administrative areas that they govern over, well, it's more like they put in the shitty policies that they know will benefit them, or companies that, if they make good profit, then they will in turn benefit. Just within Ottawa, well, it just seems they've hopped ship literally across the provincial border out of Ontario and into a bit to the upper portion of the neighboring city of Gatineau, so that they can just live a cushy, comfortable life in the surrounding, in the area that is very high-end in its, real estate value, and surrounded by a bunch of beautiful mountains and rolling hills that you absolutely, I guarantee you, from the upper levels of these buildings, have a perfect view of. Place de Rouville. Yeah. Private property, no trespassing, of course. At least I think that's what that said. From the symbols on the signage, that'd be my best guess. Okay. Where are we coming to now? Well, this actually is this one of the stations, one of the bus stations, slash train station there. Station that connects to the railway that runs through the downtown area. Yes, I believe it is. Right in front of these buildings. And there's a singular, maybe small business cafe. I saw this on the map. Maybe in the morning I'll come back here. It might be actually from the map, it looks like the only small business, not just in this area, but one of the few that can actually be found in the friggin' downtown area, because just beyond these apartment complexes is the mass. What the fuck was that? Oh, that was just the exhaust fans going off. The wasteland of mass corporate expansionism and high amounts of gentrification. Something else that I noticed is, well, as I pointed out in the last video, how so much of the small businesses, or many of those that are in a cluster together, that are small and businesses that are very much suffering financially, have basically been pushed all the way out to the eastern end of the city. Barely any in the downtown area. Same can somewhat be said for those in Promendas. They've just been pushed all the way out there. And in terms of those over in the Lac-Pachamp district, in terms of the populace, it seems to be predominantly Black and East Asian ethnicities. And, well, just racially, it seems to be predominantly those two, as well as, obviously, the lower classes of, well, Quebecois. So it's a mix of, well, but just racially, it's a mix of Black, Asian, or more so, I guess, in many regards, Han, and also a high amount of Vietnamese and Thai, and just white Quebecois, lower class. It very much seems to be in that area compared to here. Now, obviously, I would say, obviously, the major ethnic group that I've encountered so far, obviously, is, well, just Quebecois. And obviously, I don't doubt that a majority of people living here are of Quebecois descent. Because obviously, I don't think this entire area is just, from what I researched and just from my own observations, I don't think it's entirely, well, using logical thought, it's probably not entirely inhabited by just, well, other white ethnicities from over in Ontario, or those in other parts of Quebec that have migrated long ago to Quebec. So obviously not. But I'm just saying that's a very distinct, well, it's very distinct racism and classism that is very apparent. Oh, my shoulders hurt. Okay, I'm going to walk all the way back around and explore the other half of, well, the Oiseau Bleu neighborhood. Well, here's an interesting development. I just literally walking up the block, I just stumbled upon half of Gatineau City Hall. So, across here. So, with what I was researching earlier today when I was in Wi-Fi, as well as, well, the higher amounts of political figures that live in this area, or have some connection to this, well, neighborhood, I looked up where Gatineau City Hall exactly was. And apparently, the municipal government, like, in terms of legislative work, is split into two buildings. The main, well, not the main technically because it's shared between the two. One of them is in Hall. I know my finger's in the way of the camera. One of them is in Hall, and that's where the mayor's office actually is. Strangely enough, it's not actually in the downtown area. It's in the southernmost point of the city, closer to Ottawa. But then this is another half of City Hall. It's set on the map, administration sector. It was in Quebecois French, I don't fully know. But this is another half of it. This building right here that I'm pointing the camera at. Right across, conveniently, from said very high-end wealthy neighborhood. And also right across from what I believe is another corporate headquarters. There's a company that I've been seeing branches, well, for around and about the city called Friends of Pricks, something along those lines. And I believe, if I remember from the map, well, their headquarters might be in this building across here. There's obviously a clinic of some kind over there. Oh, and what do you know? A Scotiabank branch is literally in the same building as, well, this administrative sector of City Hall. So, yeah, that's interesting. Literally just stumbled upon it whilst walking down here. I didn't even know I was headed in the direction of it, as I thought about actually paying a visit to it just to get some footage and talk about it. Well, I guess things just worked out. So, yeah. Yeah, here's the Gatineau city flag, apparently. That symbol is the city flag. Still the Gatineau. Centre de Services, the Gatineau. Well, I don't speak Quebecois French, so I have no clue. I can make a guess as to what that's saying. It's just proclaiming that it's part of the administrative municipal government. Yeah, what? No, genius thing to put together, Cam. The City Hall has a sign that says we're part of City Hall. Yeah, what? I don't know how I managed to put those two together. Alright, back over here. And I faintly smell weed from somewhere. I have no clue where. Just thought I'd point that out. Let's head back over to the area that I entered from and go the opposite route. It might just loop back around, I'm not sure. Literal built-in home gym. Because of course there is. Why wouldn't there be? Alright, back to this street. Today, Jardin. So let's go the opposite way. Okay, there's just no parking. It said private property, or it indicated it. Alright. Yep. Just more elitist wealth. That's what this is. also probably just clarify in the previous video and in this one as well, with me being surprised by hello. Are you alive or are you a statue? No, I think you're a living cat. This road just ends. Yeah, you are a living animal. Well, nice to meet you, kitty. Sorry about your owners. Okay, or maybe you're a stray cat and just wandered into this area. I will leave you to your business. If you leave me to mine. I don't know what way that car is turning. Down here. Okay. Okay. Into there. I should clarify. For some of you, yeah, it may not be surprising to see, well, of a neighborhood, an entire subdivision made up of high-end, well, real estate housing, or well, high-end real estate, land and housing developments, such as condos and mass apartments. Yes, I know it's incredibly common in, say, Los Angeles, Phoenix, in Miami, Key West, and cities like that, or in, well, I guess as well, technically I think I've seen photos of, well, clusters of, well, condos in Manchester, England, and, well, Nice, France, and in Cape Town, South Africa, and things of the sort. Obviously, all over the world. But out of all the places I've lived, in terms of, and well, being here in Canada, I can't even say the same in terms of just being close-knit in terms of how clustered all of these extremely expensive condominiums and apartments are. I can't say the same. I can't even say the same for Toronto. And obviously, Vancouver would be very high in, well, areas like this. But for Toronto, I can't even say the same for the Bridle Path when I've walked along it. It had incredibly wealthy, incredibly large mansions all throughout it, but not, I guess you could say, close-knit, well, yes, mansions, obviously, and very large houses. But in terms of just connected, well, highly expensive townhomes or duplexes like these, condos and apartments, well, I can't say the same. Can't say I've ever even seen that in Toronto. Definitely not even in Markham. Definitely not in Mississauga or Brampton or Vaughan or Oshawa, and not in Peterborough, from what I can tell, and it's nowhere in Ottawa, where I was or where I traveled to. So, yeah, it's just incredibly obvious and very, well, for me, very disheartening and unsettling to a large extent. But, what can you do? looks of it, this entire, just right here, this plot of land that's right in the center of this area has been excavated somewhat. I don't know if other developments are going in here at some point or not. I don't know, actually. Should I try to? No, I'm not even going to attempt to enter, like, this portion of the housing here. So, yeah, you can see it well enough. The neighborhood does not end here, though. Oh, no, sorry. Don't you worry. It continues on that way, at least what on the map seems to be encompassing the Oiseau Bleu neighborhood. So, I will venture down that way, closer towards the Barren district that I mentioned, and see what there is to be found in relation to, well, elite class members' houses. That's all this section of the video is, and what the bulk of it is supposed to be. Just showing the ridiculous and unnecessary amount of, well, financial amalgamation from, well, certain members of society. But, yeah. I'm also just a little wanting to get out of this particular area at this time of night, as I'm getting a little, well, little overtly paranoid, I guess. You know, I talk about this in another video, but I'm not exempt from my theory of globalized social paranoia, not one bit. I suffer from it as well. Kitty cat has vanished. Well, that ain't ominous. Yeah, I'm just a little wanting to get out of this area in case someone phones or reports me to the police. So, let's get moving up to another end of this bourgeois paradise, I guess. So I walked down a ways from that part of the neighborhood, got back to a major intersection. There's some amount of varying stores here. We got an Esso station, Mega Corporation. Down there is the Rona store, so moderate. You got a few here. I don't know what these would count as. Probably these are small businesses to some degree that are absolutely being gentrified, if they are. Same with that one over there. But I'm going to head down that way towards Barren, and then up a bit, because there is what seems to be a very, I'll just jaywalk here, fuck it. A very, very well-off part of the neighborhood that's just up a ways. So I'll go and see that. This place might be open 24 hours. Maybe I'll use the washroom first. Okay, and charge my phone a bit. Alright, well, either way, I'll get down there at some point. Okay, got to a somewhat cul-de-sac road that is absolutely very much just the same high-end wealth. This area appears though to be more of upper middle class, maybe bordering upon rich to some degree. Again, far better general infrastructure and communal maintenance. Far better than most of the areas that I've been in. Well, yeah, you go all the way down. Apparently this part goes down to some provincial government service building. I don't know what, but I think that's it over there. No clue what it's for. But, well, I'm not going to find out. This just turns into a dead end. But I believe there might be a way for me to get back onto, well, this other stretch of road from here. Actually, no, there might not be. Well, just taken the welly well. God. The hierarchy of wealth is just growing and growing, is it not? God, everywhere. Yeah, that's a new set of, appears to be, low-rise condos. I think from this vantage point, I can't exactly tell, but I'll find out soon enough once I actually get over there. God, my muscle cavities in my surrounding my upper spinal column are very sore from carrying my backpack around with me constantly. Okay. Can you, do you, yeah, you do. Okay, you loop right around. Oh, it's there, and that's what I saw on the map, this parking driveway. Divided by a hedge again. Yeah, you don't go anywhere. Alright. Again, it's all very beautiful in terms of architecture as far as I'm concerned. But what's not beautiful is the absolute reek of, well, classism. That's not pretty in the slightest. So, the next road coming up, I should be able to cut across on my right, going up to, I guess it might actually just take me directly to where those condo-looking buildings are. I'll have to see. Oh, that was a louder step than I would have liked it to be. Yeah, shared parking spaces. Very neatly arranged. Oh, Remax. You make me very, very upset. Okay. God, there is a lot of divots in this sidewalk that I am not paying much attention to. Probably I should be paying more attention to. Okay. So, this road, if I'm not mistaken, goes up, yeah, right there, to the subdivision I want to be in. And then I'll decide whether I just go full on out of, well, a bit out of this neighborhood and into the part of the Barron district, as this neighborhood only, I guess, technically extends slightly into it, or at the very least touches it. Or if I just go right back down here, which should take me back to the park at the high school where my cart is. And for those of you wondering, no, I'm not worried about anyone stealing my cart. It has tire locks on it. I'd like to see somebody try and cut those off. The only way you'd be able to get those off, as far as I'm aware, is with fire service grade bolt cutters. And in terms of stealing my stuff, well, they'll have a fun time shuffling through all of it with trying to not make a sound, which will be impossible, as it'll all probably come crashing down on them. And they'll have a fun time trying to tear the tarp off of how neatly compact I've made it. But, okay. Let me just get up a ways into here. Yep. Abso-frickin-lutely. I have hit the jackpot again on finding housing structures affiliated very much to elitist bastardization. No, seriously, once again, incredibly well-off homes tucked away from a main strip of road, and even technically tucked away from those, well, what would be considered, at least just from an architectural and maintenance standpoint by my standards, appearing to be a more upper middle class area. Well, there's, I don't think you can see it from here, a chain link fence and high shrubs and trees just covering a lot of visibility of this area, this little hamlet, from that main stretch of road. There's a soccer field right next to it. Apparently on the map it says this is the Gatineau Soccer Association. Okay, guess it's just a sports, well, center of some kind, obviously. And over a ways there, and I think it actually might be right where that, well, tower is with the, I don't know if you can see it, the blinking distress light at the top of it. I don't know how well it's actually visible from here, but that's apparently either a large branch of, or the headquarters of the Quebec, or a large hydro company for Quebec that has ties to a lot of land rights in terms of placing electrical wiring and filtering of electricity to multiple different households within the province. It's either a large branch of it or it's the headquarters of said company. Yeah, okay, so let's go walking through here, shall we? This area I'm gonna go down because it loops around back out to this road. In fact, what the fuck, why am I going this way? I'll go this way then. No, what am I doing actually? Because it's just gonna come right, fuck, I don't know. Just realized, yeah, it's just gonna, it's a court. It's gonna loop around. So I'll just continue down this way, I guess, and then go down there. Still, in terms of essence in the air, well, my breathing feels a lot more clear in these areas, for the most part. The air is very, very crisp, very smooth. Oh, there's a bus stop here. First one I've actually seen in one of these, well, tuck-away capitalist paradises. It wraps around. Yeah, here's the tower, or one of them, for that company. Yeah, and then it goes into more housing units that seem to be for, well, upper class. Okay, so if I kept walking, which I'm not going to do, I'd be heading up towards where I was. Well, if I went that way, I'd be heading up towards where I was yesterday in northern Gatineau, which already had very well-off neighborhoods to it, but not near, well, this section of the city. Not near. Yeah, there's the tower. That'd be it. Okay. We just go in that area, and I don't think I'm going to talk for that one. I'm just going to record it. Okay. I won't bother you if you don't bother me. Okay, skunk? Okay? Okay. You're afraid of me, and I'm slightly afraid of you. So, we'll both just avoid each other for now. And it'll all be hunky-dory. Okay, there you go. You have free range to just run across the road as you please. just occurring to me that I'm not being terribly subtle with my recording skills right now. I don't really give a shit, but maybe I should just be a bit more wary of that. So I walked out of that subdivision up the road a bit, and over here is the Gatineau Police Department headquarters. This building right here. And it's directly adjacent to the very wealthy community, and also next to that major hydro company. That's interesting. Another Metro Plus. What the fuck does the plus mean? I am still baffled by that. So, I'm back on Grebier. Grebier is the name of it. This boulevard. So, right over there, on the opposite side of the road, is where the Barron district begins. I'm not going to record as much of it as I did with the Oiseau Bleu neighborhood, but I'm still going to record portions of it because there's a lot of it that is still incredibly financially well off. So I will just demonstrate it with what video footage I can. Sorry, my mistake. That building that I showed the camera, that's not the police headquarters. It's the police headquarters actually 2 buildings down on the opposite side of the road, so it's somewhere over there. Either way, same general location. My mistake. Okay, so I'm in the northeastern end of the Barron district, and right now I'm just seeing what appears to be, just on surface infrastructure wise, just standardized middle-class style homes, or at the very least in terms of maintenance of the properties and vehicles that I'm seeing for the most part. The road work in this area actually got a bit worse than, well, actually, right here, considerably worse than the well-end neighborhoods that I was walking throughout. But looking at the map, and from what I've researched, it just said Barron has, more expensive, lavish, patrons. But, this area must not be the right area for it. So I'm gonna walk down that way more towards the center of the district, where there's another park, interestingly, and I believe a school as well, just like over in the center of Oiseau Bleu. So, alright, so I'll just get down there a ways and see. Okay, I'm more towards the center now, and looking down to the right of the road. Well, that's different. Alright, I'm in the center of the district, and, well, just in terms of external structuring, I wouldn't say any of the housing, houses particularly look high-end or lavish. At least what would be considered that on the housing market. It is definitely an uptick compared to down there, but nothing that I would say is really indicative of bougie nature. Oh, wait, never mind. These two kind of. Maybe if I go down a bit more. Again, though, you can't, obviously, in terms of individuals' financial status, you can't exactly tell, obviously, from just solely housing alone. But there's a, oh my god, don't know what the hell that was. Well, but anyway, you can get some knowledge. Okay, let me just circle around here to see if there's any difference. My fucking god, you scared the bejesus out of me. Swear to Christ, especially with that ominously flickering, malfunctioning light. My god. Hey, maybe you're the cat that mysteriously vanished. Well, on the Cité Jardin Street. I don't know. Well, have a good night. Alrighty, now we might actually be getting somewhere. I'm starting to notice as I'm going along here, along the bend, through the center of Le Baron, there seems to be a bit of a mix between what, just in terms of, again, general exterior, a mix of standardized to upper middle class housing, but I'm noticing a very gradual, slow increase in, well, property care, and also some amount of vehicles. I'm noticing a lot more electric vehicles, and that, with that being said, high and expensive electric vehicles. I'm not going to go down there all the way, though again I'm seeing a bit of an uptick in housing. I'll continue down this way and see if it remains consistent or gradually keeps, well, oh my god, fucking hell. That's the third cat. Potentially the fourth, whatever that thing that ran across the road was. Okay. Have a good night, kitty. Let's hope we don't have a repeat of whatever happened that night at the cottage in Crow's Landing about 7 or 8 months ago, with all the, well, instead of bugs attacking me, this time it being cats following me. Alright, I'm making my way out of Barron now, and all I can say is, for the most part, along the center to, I guess this would be a bit of just the southern end of the district, there's a bit of a consistency in terms of upper to standardized housing structures, it seems. But I don't doubt that, well, those of upper class finances live in this area. Okay, and now actually getting out of the district, I'm seeing, oh, there's a Clochard, I think that's how you pronounce it, convenience store. There is an uptick. Yep, definitely an uptick in housing here. Quite a bit, actually. So I think I should bring this up now, mention it. When I was in, when I was, well, exploring the Alta Vista district in Ottawa, in Exploring Ottawa, part 13, the last part. When I got back to where I had primarily been situated in Ottawa after that endeavor, I looked on Google Maps, and I noticed that where that very, very high-end, singular apartment complex was that I showed, that was a ways away from I think it was Baycrest. I think I pronounced it wrong in the video. I think I said Bycrest. But Baycrest and Cedarwood intersection. I noticed that, and it's still, as of right now, it's still, yeah, this is getting to considerably better housing. It's still displaying that there were apartment complexes across from that very well maintained and expensive one that are no longer there. And when you actually, you can see it only from an aerial view, because the street view images have been updated to where those buildings are no longer there. Oh yeah. Okay, maybe this is part of Barron where it's high-end wealth. Absolutely. And I was intrigued by that, wondering why it obviously been demolished, torn down. So, from an aerial view on satellite images, you can very clearly see that they were in very poor condition. Probably, it actually kind of looks like it was the worst off out of all of Huron Gate in terms of infrastructure. You can even see the pool, I guess the communal pool that the apartment complex's, well, courtyard area had. It was completely algae ridden and very murky waters. But thing is, well, they're not there anymore. They're obviously demolished. So I added on a bit to my original theory that I had for, well, the depravity of Huron Gate in that initial video from what I observed. Potentially, I'll walk up here a bit. Potentially, oh, I'm back at where I entered. Didn't even notice that. Potentially, what happened was that either the building company of the high-end apartment building on the opposite side of land that was where those disheveled apartment buildings were, either bought up the land, and because of whatever, well, however the original, well, landowners most likely had exploited the residents of, well, those buildings, bought it up, determined that they were unsalvageable, maybe because they didn't even attempt to pour any sort of funding into it, and then was like, nope, we gotta condemn it, everyone has to move out, we don't care where, it's just sorry, you gotta go, and then tore it down. Or the initial owners of the property did a para deal with the property owners and developers of that other adjacent apartment complex. I'm gonna sit on this bench here for a sec. Did a para deal with them. I was like, hey, maybe when that was going up in some regard, or they knew about the building process, they were already being massively, well, dismissive and lacking in terms of care for the facilities. Maybe they thought, okay, well, you just keep denying proper maintenance of the place, and then eventually, as we continue to build this new project, which, because of mass advertising, we are going to generate a whole bunch of profit from. We will have very expensive tenants of the apartments, so you don't have to worry about it, and you'll make your pocket fill back with it. And they were like, hell yeah. And so they decided to just charge up as much rent as possible from the tenants of the disheveled apartment buildings that were adjacent to this new condo development, and which then drove the residents into further poverty and mass financial strain, maybe under the guise that their expenses were going towards properly maintaining the buildings, which would have been a bona fide lie. And at the same time, just absolutely not, putting any care into the buildings and letting them go to waste until the condo the Welland apartment building across the road was finished and the advertising had begun, or tenants had begun moving in, and started generating a lot of profit for the landlords and the property companies, the developers, and also the people who owned the disheveled neighboring buildings, who are making profit from it. And this is just speculation from what I'm thinking through. They then were like, well, it's unsalvageable. You're all gonna have to move. And maybe they performatively said that we'll provide you with some sort of temporary housing, or we'll try and find some accommodations for you, but then you're gonna have to be on your own. But one way or another, you're gonna have to leave. And then they shoot all of them out, and then tore down the buildings. And now there's a huge plot of land, and potentially, if I'm recalling, I think there might have been some amount of future construction that was going to go on there. Or maybe not. It might just be, labeled as private, just so people don't go near it. And as I've said, using the land space as just pseudo-segregation, as has been apparent as well here to some degree or another. Just using the empty land to, keep any so-called problematic visitors from adjacent communities away, or keep to deter the residents of our new living space from going towards the massively destroyed and depraved area that, we've completely gentrified and we've just degraded. So that's just an add-on to that theory. Okay, it's getting to be, it's coming up to dawn. It's now, actually it's 3:34 a.m. I'm going to retrieve my wagon and then see about you all getting into the courtyard from going up the road a bit. But first I'm gonna get my stuff, so I'll see you after that. Good morning. So I'm probably in a bit more of a dangerous situation for myself, as I am still in that park, and I decided to somewhat sleep here. But I didn't bring out all my, well, sleeping gear, tent, sleeping bag, all else. I just wrapped myself in my blanket and laid down on the actual bench. And for about the last maybe 20 minutes, I've just been sitting up. I only slept, I would say, maybe for 3 hours, probably. Actually, what time is it right now? 6:46. So, yeah. Well, no police have showed up yet. But if someone reports me and they do end up showing up, and they tell me, hey, by law you can't camp out on site here, I'll just simply tell them, well, officers, technically I'm not camping. I'm merely sitting up, wrapped in a blanket. I'm just trying to stay warm. Nothing illegal about that as far as I'm concerned, or as far as I know. So, yeah, I'm not camping. In a bit, I'll head down to that cafe that was in the ultra riches little corner down there of the condos. And then, seeing as it's now morning, I will try to head into that courtyard, just as the final bit of this video. Why do you have a spiral front staircase? Why, especially one that's so short, that's so close to the ground? Why would you have that? Why would you not just design it to make it go straight down to your front lawn? That's, in my opinion, it looks incredibly atrocious, and also it's completely inconvenient. So, apparently this building actually has pink tinted windows. That's interesting. In the dark, it just looked like they were black tinted. So, the last few condos, as you can see, are down this road here. I'll get to them in a bit. First, I'm going to stop by that small business cafe and see if I can get something to eat and drink, and I also need to piss again. Well, okay. I was wrong last night when I passed through this area about my initial assumptions of what this building was. I thought it was the bus/train station. It's not. It's apparently a school. I don't know whether it's secondary or post-secondary, or what, if it's university, college, high school. It seems to be one of the three. But I just walked straight into it. Going to see if I could use the washroom, because unfortunately Mokalaka and Olivia Bistro, those two restaurants that, or they might be conjoined, they're closed until 10 o'clock. So great. Yeah, and I just walked straight in, and I thought, okay, must, well, be able to find a washroom in maybe the terminal area. And well, then I saw the lockers, and I saw students literally putting their things away, and I was like, oh damn, I'm not... Yeah, I'm in one of these prisons again. I would not like to be back in one of these prisons. It's convenient, though, the fact that I, well, have the complete appearance of a high schooler or a post-secondary student. So, yeah. Let's hope I don't get the police called on me here for being some strange man walking around on campus. Also, if you can't tell, I don't know if you can see very good to many of the folks walking around here. Many of them are adorned in, well, very, very, very lavish and expensive attire. And again, yes, I know. Okay, no, you know what? I'm going to differ on. Somewhat differ on this notion. I know we say it. Again, just like Canada, only in Canada. I know there's the notion, which is for the most part true, that poverty, wealth, well, mainly attributing to poverty, but all sectors of class structuring, there's the notion of there's no look to any of it. Okay, I slightly disagree with that. There's no definitive look. Yes, correct. There's no concrete, absolute look. Just a general, completely assigned look to every person who is impoverished, of the middle class, or of high-end wealth. Of course not. That's a ludicrous idea to believe so. But there is culturally, well, both culturally and also just in terms of affordability, well, there are general, well, there is clothing that is also common amongst, well, these different groups of people. And especially I would say that within from a lot of the middle class, even going into lower middle class, and, well, very wealthy finances. I think you get what I mean. And just, all I'm saying is, in accordance with the social arrangements of this area, that the pattern isn't a friggin' coincidence. It's not. With what people are wearing, being very valued and high-end clothing. It's not a fucking coincidence. So, and that's nothing against their clothing. A lot of it, as far as I'm concerned, is beautiful and very, well, obviously the function of clothes is only for two things. Well, to keep you warm and for aesthetic. At least as far as I'm concerned, being a nudist. But yes, very well-made, well-designed clothing. It's just, oh, you get what I fucking mean. I'm going to go see if I can take a piss in that friggin' cultural center. That's the back end of where that other cul-de-sac was. And once again, there's the main strip of road in the downtown area. Tucked far, far away from it, or as far as it possibly can be. And we have finally made it. All coming full circle now. And there is a way for me to actually get in. Then again, if there's a sign saying no trespassing, then I will be in shit. But oh well. Domaine de La Cape, or La Cap. Apartment complexes. Oh, actually, side note quick. See that person walking away down there? They, well, either live in these apartments or they were visiting someone. and they came walking out, well, down here, and they obviously had to pass my cart to get by on the sidewalk. You know what they did with this hand? They went like this. Here, I'll actually demonstrate. They brushed by it, or were about to, and went, literally stuck their hand, like, very exaggeratedly, I think that's a word, in a very exaggerated motion behind their back. So, yeah. Woohoo for classism! Yay! Alright, let's wrap this up. I'm gonna go in there. Well, nearly all the parking spots are completely reserved, so you're just staying there for now. Cart. Oh yes, actually, just to quickly introduce my cart friend here. I've neglected to actually give them a name, and also, well, talk about them in these videos so far, ever since I left Ottawa. So, with my recurring theme of giving nicknames to any, well, so far it's been vehicles up until this point, but as well as I'm now going to include just any mobile object with wheels. Everyone, say hello to Cardi B. Yes, that's right, Cart-E-B. I know, I'm a horrendous person. I was thinking of naming them Selena Go-Kart, but yeah, it didn't stick as well. So, yeah, Cardi B, you wait here. Oh. This is, well, honest to God, I don't know what to say about this point anymore. It's been a hell of a mini side quest, this past night. It really has. Learned some pretty terrible things, and, well, generally it was very unsettling. So, yeah, here's some more, well, high-end class apartments. I don't know what else you want from me by this point. Yep, and it's right up against the neighborhood that, well, the part of the Oiseau Bleu neighborhood that I started in. Going all the way down there. Yeah, it's, that's really all there is to say. It's just, it sucks. One last thing, though, I will state, when I was walking along the road to get here from the cafe, I also noticed that there were actually some, it seems like, singular small businesses. I say small, but they appear in terms of maintenance, and who I saw attending, people going in and out. Well, in terms of finances, they seem to be quite well off, even for not being expansionist. As yes, that's absolutely true as well of certain small businesses. Well, it seems these were the ones that are tucked behind, conveniently, again, right behind the downtown main road that's full of the, well, mega corporate branch locations. And they're all conveniently tucked right behind those ones that are front and center. And they absolutely... And there's also some clothing stores, high-end fashion establishments, and all of them absolutely were catering to elitist demographics. Because, of course, all the ones that are just along, most of the ones that are along this back road strip here to the main road on the other side there. So, yeah, pseudo-segregation galore. Mass gentrification, mass expansionism, mass financial hierarchy, mass mound of molten murderous bullshit. So, to end this section off, before I slap my little visit to the cafe, because it was actually opened right as I got there, actually. Before I slap that on at the end, let's end this with, let's go with another musical number, like the last video. What do you think, Cardi B? What shall we sing? And I'll stand in this location and do it. Let me think for a minute. Alright, okay, got it. I don't recall absolutely 100% of the lyrics, but I'll make them up as I go. So, enjoy. Okay, take 2, because I failed the first time. Different beat. I come from scientists and atheists and white men who kill God. They make technology high quality, compress physiological experiments and sacrilege in the name of public good. You taught me everything just like a daddy should. And you were beautiful and vulnerable and compressed in the head. Goddamn, I fell for you, your diagrams, your tunnels, and your tech. I always wanted to grow up and do something great like you, and the real tragedy is half of it was true. But we've been fucking mean, we're elitist, we're as flawed as any church. And this bullshit West Coast dogma has a higher fucking net worth. I bit the apple cause I trusted you. It tastes like Thomas Malvitz. Your proposal is immodest and insane. And I hope one day Summers rides her fucking train. I loved you, I loved you, I loved you, it's true. I wanted to be you and do what you do. I lived here, I loved here, I thought it was true. I'm so embarrassed, I feel abused. I was your baby, your firstborn, the hot girl in your comp sci class. I was your muse, I was your star, I was born and bred to kick your ass. I always wanted to just be a part of what you had begun, but I can't believe you tore humanity apart with the very same machines that could have been our brand new start. I loved you, I loved you, I loved you, it's true. I wanted to be you and do what you do. I lived here, I loved here, I thought it was true. I'm so embarrassed, I feel abused. Let me level with you, man, as someone guilty of the game. I took your money, took your car, I would have taken your last name. So if anyone gets to make a judgment call based on you, it would be me, and as I see it, you're a dick. But we've been fucking mean, we're elitist, we're as fucked as any church, and this bullshit West Coast dogma is a higher fucking net worth. I bit the apple cause I trusted you, and why would you lie? And then I realized you're just as naive as I am. I loved you, I loved you, I loved you, it's true. I wanted to be you and do what you do. I lived here, I loved here, I thought it was true. I'm so embarrassed, I feel so used. I feel so used. Take me to the moon, 'cause I feel so used. Rat by Peppenloop Scott. Peppenloop. Peppenloop. P.L. Scott. So, to anyone coming to visit or who lives in Gatineau and who isn't affiliated with all this, or who is but is oblivious to the, well, what this is. For as much as most average people view this city as, well, just a stay-in overnight place to get moving on into visiting Ottawa, well, Gatineau surprisingly has a whole slew of very, very dark and disturbing socio-political undertones. So, do with that information what you will. So I'll just I'll film this little outro a bit now. I'm inside that small business cafe. It's very nice, aesthetically. Definitely has a lot of Quebecois cultural influences, at least as far as I can tell. And it literally opened immediately after I finished recording me standing outside of it and talking about how I was going to go urinate at the cultural center if I could. So, that worked out. What am I eating? Because you're so curious to know. I'm chowing down on a tuna salad wrap, smoked salmon with dillweed on cream cheese and bread. And for dessert, I got myself a delicious looking lava cake, which I've not had in so long, and a red velvet cookie. Look, to any of you out there who are crying, Cam, what about your sugar addiction? Think about your sugar addiction. Yeah, normally I would agree with you, but screw off for today. I'm not just telling that to you, I'm telling that to myself. Besides, these, I can tell, are definitely, at least from what I'm seeing in the kitchen, are definitely far more authentically made sweets than the, well, store-bought, highly manufactured, refined garbage. So, I'll enjoy them, hopefully. I don't know the status of the CEO of this business or how they treat their employees, but well, suffered a slight bit of classism coming in, slight, but I won't talk about that really much here. I think I've already ranted far enough in this video about things of the sort. So, final conclusions about this whole adventure through a large portion, at least, of the city. Well, I'll put it this way. As of right now, I am officially dubbing Gatineau to be the business exploitation capital of Canada. Conveniently located right next to the national exploitation capital of Canada. Look, with everything that where I went last night, things I researched about the areas. Well, I have no doubt that, especially in this area, there are a whole lot amount of politicians, corporate CEOs and executives, police commissioners or high-end police officials, maybe even, I guess, certain well-known, maybe even theatrical actors of Gatineau, or I guess even maybe in Ottawa, that live around here that are highly paid, and also the majority of them are highly corrupt and, well, morally inept human beings as far as I'm concerned. So, after I eat this and explore that last area with the condos, if I can, I think I'm going to stay here in Gatineau for one more day. Maybe actually go to that homeless shelter and see if I can sleep in a room. And then try and purchase a bus ticket for a provincial-wide traveling bus. One that will actually take me and my wagon. So, yeah, do that, and then if all goes well, I'll be headed off to the town of Thurso. Well, even if I don't get a bus, or even to some degree, if possible, a train, I will be walking out of the city and hitchhiking, if that doesn't work out. So, yeah, I hope you learned something from this video. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm sorry if I offended anyone with it. And, final closing note, don't exploit and enterprise your business ventures, and don't commodify and subjugate your own culture for hierarchical purposes.